Lynn's back with the wine.
I'm so uncomfortable in this sort of...
Oh, well.
Oh, right. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thanks, darling.
Artisan Cheese Festival.
Tell me when you're ready. Oh, God. Well, good afternoon. I'm here at the California Artisan Cheese Festival. I'm Kate Arding, one of the founders of Culture Magazine, and I'm here this afternoon with Tom Bertel, who's also working and helping to organize this event. So Tom, are you happy with how it's going?
I'm very happy. This is our 4th year for the Artisan Cheese Festival, and our whole goal is to really connect the cheesemaker with the consumer. Because most cheesemakers, as you know, are small and they're on the farm making the cheese. So this is a chance to bring the cheesemakers here, have them meet the consumer one-on-one and have a conversation. And that's the whole theme of the weekend. And we're a nonprofit, so we're here to support the cheesemakers, support the industry, and it's going very well this weekend. Everything is sold out this weekend. Today's the big marketplace day. We got 24 cheesemakers from not only California, but Oregon, Washington, and Utah. I think we're going to have about 1,400 people today come through.
That's fantastic.
And I know I'm talking to cheesemakers, they're sampling cheese, but they're also selling lots of cheese.
Right.
So it's going very well.
Well, one of the things I noticed is that you've organized it seems extremely well. You've got these 2 shifts, morning shift and an afternoon shift, which makes it a lot less crowded. And it's a chance to actually have a dialogue with the vendors, which seems to be a great idea.
Exactly. I mean, our biggest problem in the first 3 years has been planning for a certain capacity and then having too many people show up, which is a nice problem to have. So this year last year we had 1 session and everyone came at the same time.
Right.
So you couldn't have those conversations between the cheesemakers and the consumer. So this year we broke it apart in 2 sessions. So this morning we've already had our morning session. We're about getting ready for our afternoon session. And I think it's going very well because you have that time.
Right.
You're not being so hammered with people.
Right.
And that's the core, which is be able to, people talk to the Cowgirls or Mary Keene to learn about cheese.
And also the faces behind the cheeses too.
Exactly. I mean, we call the cheesemakers our rock stars.
Right.
And people want to come and meet them, and they seldom get a chance to meet them.
Exactly. I mean, that's, and I think also the dialogue for the producer is so important because they're getting direct feedback from the public too, which is
right.
great.
And what some comments we've received is that the consumers are getting more and more educated. They're asking more and more questions, sort of deeper questions, if you will. And it's a little bit like the wine industry was maybe 30 years ago. People were just learning, and so we're at the beginning of that wave, or at least part of that wave for artisan cheese. Yeah. So I think it's gone very well.
It's really true because I think with the magazine, I mean, even 3 years ago, it wouldn't have flown, and people are not just wanting superficial information, they're really wanting hard answers, because if we get something wrong, we really hear about it.
Exactly.
from the consumer, not from the producer necessarily. So which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So what are the main changes that you've seen apart from organizationally, since the first year you were doing this and this year?
I think we continue because we want to be sort of the entranceway, or as Lynn Devereaux, our executive director, says, breaking down the barriers between the consumer and the cheesemaker. So every year we're trying to attract new people.
Right.
So we're getting a mixture. Like we did a survey yesterday in 1 session, how many people had been here before versus how many people are here coming for the first time. It's about 50-50.
Right.
So people who want to keep coming back, this is their passion, they want to come and learn even more.
Right.
Then we have newcomers who are coming just learning for the first time. I think that's something we're seeing. And that's probably the biggest thing. And then what we're also trying to do is help the consumer understand the connection from the land to the animals, to the milk, to the cheese, and then to the consumer. Because a lot of them have an interest in knowing where their food's coming from, part of that whole trend. So I think that we've tried to do that with, and we're a nonprofit, and every year we donate 10% of our ticket proceeds to 5 different nonprofits.
That's fantastic.
And 2 of them are land trusts. We have the Marin Agricultural Land Trust and the Sonoma Land Trust. Both of their mission is to protect land, and both have really played integral roles in protecting land and helping some of these cheesemakers get started.
Exactly.
Including Albert Strauss at Strauss Creamery, Point Reyes, through the conservation easement mechanism, help them protect the land, which then they can keep the herds going, make milk, make cheese, a high value added product, protect the land. So we give back to them, we give back to the Future Farmers of America, the Petaluma branch here in town, so the people training the next generation. and then we also give to the California Artisan Cheese Guild, so we can keep everything going in terms of education.
So it's very symbiotic, and education, as you say, is such a huge part of it. And I know that the land trusts too. I mean, a large part of this landscape in Northern California, we owe to the land trusts.
Exactly.
Otherwise it would have ended up like a sort of San Jose type sprawl. I know that's really remarkable. So, so what about the future? What do you see about what are your hopes down the line? Do you have a?
Well, I think being a gathering place for cheesemakers, experts like yourself to come. I was sitting in your seminar yesterday and I learned a few things, and I think continuing that, and also seeing what the consumer wants to hear. I mean, the first year we had a lot of sort of beginner type seminars, and we continue that, but we're trying to add more
it's a
advanced
202, was it? No, 101 and
101.
201.
Exactly. So we can again, answer questions that people have. And then what's great this year is we have a lot of cheesemakers bringing out new cheeses.
Exactly. There's a huge number of them here.
There's a lot of them, and even Cowgirl bring out a new cheese, and hearing the story about how you bring out a new cheese is an interesting story. So I see it as an evolution of being able to answer what the consumer wants to learn about, which is your magazine's doing as well. So that whole piece, and then we'll evolve as it makes sense to.
Well, there's also, the other important thing I think is you get such a great dialogue going on between the producers, because there's such a mutually supportive network, and because of companies like Cowgirl and Point Reyes, and who was standing right behind us, who really blazed the trail out here. They're kind of, in a sense, almost now the second generation, and helping these new producers come in. So
I think it's exactly right. And I think that's what today we have. I think 3 or 4 new cheesemakers. This is the first time they've been here. A chance for them to get exposed to the marketplace. They don't have big marketing budgets. And then tomorrow, as you know, we have a trade day for people in the retail business or the chefs to come and meet the cheesemakers again, since that doesn't happen a lot. But I think you're right. And we've got a lot of calls at the festival. I'm thinking about, I have some sheep, I want to make cheese, who do I talk to? And then helping be a connecting point for those people.
It's wonderful.
So.
Well, I'm looking behind us now, and I think we're about to be squished by a tidal wave of people coming for the afternoon. So thank you very much. I really
thank you very much.
Cheers.
Best of luck.
All right,
thank
you. Thanks.
Thanks. See?